Okay, this should be it. Hi. Okay, I'm super excited to share with you my palettes. I've been wanting to do this video for quite a long time, and I just got the energy to do so. And so I'm trying to fit as many as I can in the screen, but I will show them to you one at a time. And I'm going to try to keep this under 30 minutes because I just want to give you sort of a rundown of all of the watercolor palettes that I have been using in the past 34 years of creating with watercolor. So I'll start with the oldest one and I'll try to go to the most recent ones. Okay, and there will be a lot of shuffling around because I wanted them to kind of be in the screen, but I also want there to be some space so you can actually see them. So thank you for joining me, and I will answer any questions that you all have at the end of this. So if you need to email me or message me on Instagram, I will try to check my messages and respond. So here we go. So I'll start with the first watercolor palette I had ever purchased. Was when I was 18 and I was at art school. So I'm going to put this over here so that I have a little bit of space to show you. So the first watercolor palette I ever purchased was one that I wanted to take with me all around the place. So I wanted to travel with it. I lived in a dorm room, so I wanted it to be small. It's the size of my palm, actually smaller than my palm, and it's made by Winsor & Newton, and it's so cool. It fits on a belt if you wanted to carry it around in the field with you and do plein air painting. So this watercolor palette has traveled with me to Italy, all over Europe, and to India, and all different kinds of places all around the US, to many beaches, on many planes, in my car. It's so practical. So the top comes off, and that is the water receptacle. Oops, sorry. It comes with a cute little travel brush, and the water, you carry around the water in here, this little flask, you put it in there. This doubles as a palette, and you open up the palette, the rest of the palette like that, and you have all this space to mix your colors. It came with a little sponge, which was awesome. You can use it to clean off your brush, or to clean your page, or to soak up the watercolor. And many times I have refilled these with tubes of paint, so you can just buy tubes of paint and squeeze in your favorite colors once you're done with them. I stuck a little bit of color up there and there too, so that I could have 2 extra colors. I had turquoise and magenta or fuchsia. I think at one point it was purple lake. So got the basic colors: 2 blues, 2 yellows, 2 reds, 2 greens, 2 browns, yellow ochre, and that was white. So anyway, this is just the best palette I've ever had in my entire life. It's so awesome. Be careful when you're putting the top back on. You don't want to squeeze any of the bristles in there, but super awesome. They still make them today. You can get a Winsor & Newton Cotman one, which is less money than the Winsor & Newton professional one these days, but I highly recommend it. It's my favorite palette ever. So put that aside. So then when I became a freelance illustrator, I needed something a little bit bigger. Actually, before that, sorry, I'm pretty sure this one came next, and this one I got for my watercolor classes in art school. So it's bigger than the other one, and it has more space to mix your colors, and you can put any colors you want in it. It's really great. They sell these still. Very inexpensive way to go. Pro, you can fold it up and take it with you. Con, it's plastic. I'm not really super big fan of plastic, but a lot of mine are because that's what's out there and they don't break as much as the porcelain ones. And but the metal ones are kind of indestructible, so I'll show you those at some point. But this is my next favorite one, just because it's so beloved. I used it for so much when I was learning how to paint. And put that aside. So then when I became a freelance illustrator and I needed a bigger version of that one that I just showed you, I purchased this one. This one is a John Pike palette. I like that it's made in the US, and it's basically just a larger version of the other one, the smaller one that I just showed you. The reason why I like this so much is because it's really large. I can't even get it fully on my screen. I can on my phone screen. I'm making two videos just in case the one on Zoom doesn't turn out. But you can mix a lot of color, as you see, if you work on larger paintings. So this one's great for that. But it is basically just the same layout as this one. So it just helps if you think this one has more colors, but I'm not sure. But it's a similar layout, so it helps when you're using palettes for many years. You have this sort of Pavlovian dog response to where your colors are, and I know I changed it around a little bit on this one, but at least the layout is very similar. So love this. I illustrated many books with this one, so I could make larger paintings with it. Really awesome and helped a lot. So let me put this one away. This one's just got so many surfaces on it. I think I used the top of it for some acrylic painting backdrops. So I kind of ruined it a little bit, but that's okay. I get paint on everything, pun intended. So I'm going to put this one aside now, if I can find a spot for it. Okay, I'm going to keep going in order of purchase, I think. So, even though I liked that last rectangle John Pike one that I showed you, the wells are kind of very, sorry, I'm trying to fit all this in here. The wells are not very deep, so I wanted a deep one, and I also wanted one that I could use. Actually, this is put in there wrong, so let me turn it around for a sec. Make a little bit of noise. I wanted one with deeper wells, and I wanted one that was circular. So, I can get this set up. Let's see, I think this came next, but I'm not sure, actually. Actually, no, it didn't. So I'm going to go move on with, I think this one came next. One of these or the other. I wanted more colors, so I started this one. This one is a Schminke, and it is a metal one. This is the kind of paint I use, and it's just a sticker that I put on top of this because I didn't want to confuse myself. So these are completely indestructible, and I really like that they're metal and that they will last forever. So highly recommend something like this, because you also what happens is you get it empty, and like this, this is a mini version of that, but it comes empty, and it comes with these little half palettes, or half pans, excuse me, and you can either buy them full of paint, or you can buy them empty, and you can fill them up with the colors that you want. So I started with simple colors that I had always been using, very similar to the last two palettes I showed you. But then I wanted to expand on my color choices. I wanted to get some warmer colors. I wanted to get some cooler colors that sort of corresponded with the primaries and secondary colors. I also had never really had that many purples, so I wanted to get more purples. I wanted to get multiple yellows. I wanted to have room for my whites. So this is a 48 half pan palette, which is amazing. So it took me a couple years to start filling this up. And I just wanted to show you that it comes in all different sizes. So it comes in the 48, the 24, and the 12. So I have, this was a gift to me by a very close friend who wanted to get me some new colors. That's a paint I love so much, the Daniel Smith paint. I also love Sennelier paint, the one with the honey mixed in. I still love Winsor Newton professional grade paint. I have some colors left of that. So these are really nice way to go if you want it to be metal and you want to fill your own palette. It's a really lovely way to just pick your favorite colors or have some very basic colors to use, and then you can build upon it. So you can just leave them open and empty until you decide what you want. Sometimes I will run across something at the art reuse place. I think I bought this for like $6 there, which is great because they're way more expensive. But the reuse place over on San Pablo in Berkeley is great because you're supporting local artists, and you can find really amazing buys there. So if you can find a art reuse place near you, I highly recommend that. So these are my top pick if you're going to get just one and you want to build your own colors and you're going to keep it forever and you really need something sturdy and strong. So the small one is a great travel case as well. It's even got a little belt thing. So let's see. So simultaneously, when I had these and I started to fill those up, I started painting color wheels, and or I had been painting color wheels, and I really wanted to get some round color wheels. So the next bunch I'm going to show you are round, and you'll see why. Oh, actually, I kind of want to show you one quick one that I got at the art reuse place because I just left off on that note, and I'll show you this before I move on to the round ones. I know I'm building so much suspense for the round palettes, but it's been a journey to find them. So I found this at the art reuse place, and it's a gem. It's so amazing. It doesn't have perfectly transparent watercolors in it. I feel like they're a little bit more opaque than my other ones, but this is really fun. It's a vintage one, and it's really cool. I don't know what year it's from. It's very kind of mid-century modern feel to it, but it's got a palette this way, or you can use it this way, and it is a M. Gumbacher, made in the USA as well. Symphonic, brilliant watercolor, and I just loved that it has let's see if I can show it to both screens. Here we go. It's got the yellow, red or violet, and blue, two blues, so you can have the primary colors. It's got secondary colors, It's got neutral colors, so you can add to them to mute your colors or darken them. It's fantastic. I was like, oh my gosh, I had to buy it. It was like, I don't know, $6 or $7, and it was almost brand new when I got it, and I've used it a lot. So if you keep them clean, you could use them for a really long time. It is plastic, but I just couldn't resist. You can keep filling them up when you're done with the ones that you have. In any watercolor palette, you can always fill it back up with your favorite colors. So that's what's great about buying palettes. Okay, so that's my last find at the reuse place, but I'm always on the lookout for really cool things there. Okay, so now we get to the round ones and the ones with the deeper wells. So this was the first one that I found at one of the art supply stores, and it's for watercolor or acrylic. I think you can use gouache in it too, but it's actually supposed to keep your watercolors and your acrylic paints wet or moist. It comes with sponges, and it comes with these sheets, these palettes, so I'm pretty sure it's actually really made for acrylic, and it helps to keep them wet. But I really liked it for watercolor because, like I said, I do color wheels, and so it's just a dream for that, because I can literally have all of my colors set out the way I use them on the color wheel. And it comes with this very cheaply made, sadly, plastic insert that is at some point going to get ruined, but it's got so much space for you to mix your colors, and you can see I was darkening some colors over here, and I was making a large color wheel at some point. This got a little bit bent, but it fits back on there, and when you hold it like that, it's got two sets of wells, so I can do my cool color wheel on the inside and my warm color wheel on the outside, and I mix my own. So I just take some toothpicks and I mix the colors, I mix the color wheels in full before I'm ready to paint. And the center has brown. At some point it had a cool brown on one side and a warm brown on the other. So this is just a fantastic palette for if you're doing color theory or if you really like to play with color. Highly recommend it. It was like 20 bucks-ish. And I think it'll last a really long time, except for this part because it's such thin plastic, so I might have to purchase another one, sadly. But it really does help when I want quick colors and I don't want to have to sit there and mix all of my colors perfectly on my color wheel. So this is has a little bit of paint on it, so it's not closing fully, but I think there's a little pull situation. You pull this lever up and pull it off. So, highly recommend. I have a couple of these, and I have pastels in one of them in darkened colors. So it really does hold all your colors nicely if you're doing color wheels like me. So I bought this one next because it has 12 sections. It doesn't have a cover, so that's a con, but a pro is that it's inexpensive. It was $7, so I was kind of playing around with it to see if I wanted to tell my students to get it, but again, I can mix my own colors on the color wheel, and I can do warm and cool versions of them. It has a lot of space for me to mix colors, but even if you're doing landscapes and portraits, you could use this. It's just a nice way to set your colors up so that they are in a wheel. So really fun. And another con is that technically it doesn't have 12 wells, except for if you count these little small ones. So, and these wells, I'm not sure why this doesn't go all the way around. I have no idea why. Maybe it's because it's easier to clean, but it's silly. So I wish those two had walls on them, and that this would go all the way around in the center. And that's when I got my idea to make my own, because I didn't like the cheap plastic of the inner console of this one, and I didn't like the fact that this was all set up like this without the wells. And I saw a porcelain one that had 12 wells in it. It's the only porcelain one with 12 wells. There's one of them being made, and I think it's a Richardson, I'm not sure, but haven't purchased it yet. It'll probably be the last one that I purchase, but I started making my own instead of buying that one, and I'm kind of tempted to buy it, but this is a great find as well. If you want a really inexpensive version of that without 12 wells, and you're just looking to do watercolor for just a very fun sort of side hobby, and you don't want to spend a lot of money, this is the least expensive palette that I have, and it's about $5, I think. It's less than $5, and it comes with a top, which is great because you do want a top for your watercolors. That's why all of the palettes that I have so far have tops for them, because it will attract dust if you just leave it out. So if you don't have a top, you can use a paper towel or a piece of paper, piece of cardboard, piece of circular cardboard, whatever you want to put on top of it so that it doesn't attract dust. But you can see I've got my primary colors in here. This is great for beginners, it's great for children. You don't have to buy fancy watercolors in tubes to put them in there, but you do want to wait until they're dry before you start to use them. So any of the palettes that you buy, you want to make sure when you squeeze the paint in, you don't use the paint wet. You will use it up very quickly, and they're very expensive, and they come in these little tubes, and they're small. I'll show you right now, actually, what a tube of watercolor looks like, if you've never seen them. They look like this, and they come smaller. Let's see if I have a smaller one in here. So this is the difference between a children's watercolor or a student watercolor and a professional watercolor. I got these as a donation. Someone gave them to me, so I play with them every once in a while, but this is what a smaller tube of watercolor looks like compared to the bigger one. So you can get the smaller version of the Daniel Smith if you're interested in just buying a few colors and you want to play around with them. But when you squeeze them in, again, just leave them overnight, if not longer, a little bit, until they're rock hard, because they're meant to be hard and dry when you use them. You can spritz them with a little bit of water, or just use water from your brush to reconstitute them to make your paintings. Okay? Just a few tidbits there, but I just really want to talk about palettes. So this was a great set of them. I got a bunch of them for student ones, that just like an introduction to watercolors. My last round, actually I have two more round plastic palettes to show you. And this is really funny. I was making the largest watercolor that I had ever made, and I really wanted deep wells. So you can buy porcelain dishes, separate porcelain dishes to use, and fill up each one with the color that you're using. But I found these for like $3. They're deviled egg containers, and they had cool tops on them, and they were very sort of mid-century modern, so I had to get them just for a few dollars at the Urban Eco or place down the street, where you can buy lots of stuff for cheap. So I got a couple of these, and I was able to mix the colors directly in there and keep them wet for a couple days. It was great. So when I was painting my larger paintings, I haven't used them since, so at some point I will get them out again. It comes with these cute little tabs that close them. And then the last round one I will show you is the one that I actually recommend to my students these days, because and I think I made another video about this, so ask me about it and I can send it to you, but it's just the supplies that I recommend for my latest beginner watercolor class at Kala Institute. So this is my last round plastic one that I wanted to show you, and I purchased it because it came with a cute little color wheel on the packaging on the inside, which was really cool. I thought that was awesome, so that even though we make color wheels in my class, you can have that as a reference. And I like it because it has the 3 main primary colors, and that instead of an orangey red, they give you a magenta and a dark permanent red violet, so that you can choose which red you want to make your secondary colors. And there's 2 blues, a cool one and a warm one, and yellow, and you can use that as a warmer yellow if you want, or you can add a little bit of that to that. But it's great because it's a travel palette. It comes with a brush. Again, it's plastic, and there's really shallow wells, so it's not the most perfect one, but it's great. A great little compact one to get you started if you're a beginner, and it's around $20, so it's inexpensive compared to something like this. When you fill this up, this is going to be a lot more. So this is something maybe for when you commit to your watercolor practice and you want to take more classes, but this is a great beginner one that you can carry around with you. I try to tell my students to slow down when they buy supplies, because it's the worst to purchase hundreds of dollars worth of art supplies and then not use them. So, okay, so I showed you, this is the little bonus at the end, I showed you all the palettes that I have purchased over the past 34 years. I think it's literally everything I have. I went through all of my stash, and it's pretty much everything that I have. And but at some point I got inspired when I saw that they made a 12 well ceramic porcelain palette. I thought maybe I could make my own. So I got this crazy idea. I had access to a kiln for a while, and I bought some clay, and so I hand built a bunch of palettes, and I'm going to show you what I made so that you can see. I think you've already been seeing on this this camera, but these are all handmade by me. They are clay. They're hand built by slab, and I mixed my own colors in there, and you can see I used it a couple times, and they were great. They were really fun to make. And I made a whole bunch of covers to go on, so I made larger ones. This one fits on the small one, but so I made covers so that they would be safe from the dust and the dirt and the environment. So I'll just show you. It was a really fun practice, and I had a lot of fun, but I haven't really used a lot of them yet. So this is another one. This is the kind of thing that I made to go with that, so I can put it on top like this, and also I can have more space to mix my colors. And I was experimenting with different styles, so I made some with my fingers that I was just pressing in with my fingers, and that's a pen, the back of a pencil actually. So I was playing around with different thicknesses and weights of the ceramic, or the clay. And I think I made this one with my finger too, and it started to turn into a flower, so that was really fun. And then the cute little tiny ones that I made, I'll show you real quick. And I'm almost out of time because I wanted to keep this under 30 minutes. So I made this really cutie patootie one, and then I made a color wheel to go with it. So I just put some watercolor in there, and I can carry this around with me anywhere I go. And this one was in a Trader Joe's mint case, and I put one of my stickers that my friend Alpha Channeling made for me. And it's metal, so I put some little magnets on the back so I can put a color wheel in there and it won't fall out. And then these, each little half pans have magnets on them as well, so they don't fall out, and I can carry that around with me too. So I hope this helps. Just remember, with any palette you make, remember to make a color code map that goes with it. So whether it's a circle one or a one that you have that's rectangle, just make sure that you label all of your colors, and so that you can see them, because they look different in the palette than they do on paper. So this will help you as a guide to get to know your colors. Okay, so promise me that whatever palette you get, you're gonna make one of these little guides to go with your colors. And that is my half hour of my video on palettes, and thank you again for watching. Thanks for joining me, thanks for your support, thank you for your donation, and happy watercoloring, and reach out to me if you have any questions. Okay, thank you so much.